We're back. It's time for the 2024 Urban NerdCon. Join us in Atlanta, Georgia, April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel. Special guests include Underworld creator Kevin Grievous, Gary Gray from Fairly Odd Parents, from Nickelodeon, Giovanni Samuels, the Science Machine Michael Green, the Sci-Fi Sisters, and from Spaceballs and Star Trek Voyager, Tim Russ.
Hi, I'm Tim Russ. Join me April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia for the Urban NerdCon. Our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone con. I'll see you there. Live long and prosper.
Visit theurbannerdcon.net to get your buy one, get one free badges before the price increases. Remember, our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone's con. See you there.
All right. With your bad self.
With your bad self.
Look at
Rattler Nation.
Look at you
What's
all,
happening?
all dappered up. You must have just came back from date night with the wife. You got the jacket on and you ready to go. Look at you.
Man, I stay so fresh, so clean, my brother. In the orange and green. This is what I do.
Well said, man. Well said. Well, good evening, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day, Rattlers. Those of you who are in love or just flat out just love FAMU. That's why you're joining us tonight on Cupid's Day, the February 14th edition of the ONG Strike Zone. I'm Bryan Fulford. That's Kelvin Rozier. Not with us today is our good friend Marcus Green, who is doing some father-daughter time on Valentine's Day. So much love and respect to all the dads out there who are showing their daughters love. So that just let them know there's, always number one. Not another man will, well, maybe you hope one day, but there's dad's always gonna be there. Dad's always gonna be there. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So we got a great show for you tonight. The debut of the head ball coach, Coach Colzie, is going to be coming up here in about 10 minutes. So,
we about to get cozy. We're about to get cozy.
So get ready. Tell your friends. Make sure to share the show and the stream because we've got Coach joining us here early. We have a lot of. This is a very, very busy time of the year, Kelvin.
I love it.
Man, I was just going through the show notes and I was like, oh my God, we got to make sure we talk about this. We got to hit this, that, talk about these guys and these gals. I'm just like, man, whoa.
It's championship season, baby. We got a lot of defending champions in the spring.
Yeah. And if you're in the state of Alabama, well, if you're in the state of Alabama, there's no excuse not to find the Rattlers somewhere. The Rattlers will be somewhere in the state of Alabama. Other than our baseball team, they will be around the state of Alabama. You might even be in Mississippi if you're in the Mississippi area. The Rattlers will be there as well. So we'll talk about all the great things that are happening, more awards, conference recognition for our student athletes. Man, I tell you what, woo, it's a good time to be a Rattler. Great time to be a Rattler.
Always.
Okay, so before we get into, the shout outs real quick, and obviously before we get to Coach Colzie, I gotta rant about. I don't even want to go on deep rant here because I just want to get your thoughts on it. Now, you watched the Super Bowl, Kelvin, did you not?
I did.
Did you watch the halftime show by USHERA Y-A. Hold on, did I say that right? M-O-N-D. There you go. Usher Raymond. Did you watch the halftime show?
True player for real. Don't leave a girl around me.
Swiss Beats. Anyway, so look. I did not know until maybe I kind of figured it out where there was a marching band performing during the show. And I was looking, I was like, well, who could that be? And I'm looking at a move and I'm like, that's
Atlanta A&T.
yeah, Atlanta A&T, right. Now it kind of looked like the Boom. I could tell through the drum major's performance. And so, a couple of quick confirmations by some people. Yeah, it was the Sonic Boom. Okay. So, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. They looked like they sounded good. They were moving good right there. Man, but I don't know if it's just us, and I'm saying us being Rattlers, or just something in the water, or just a deep-seated rivalry which has started, and I don't know it will ever end or what it will take to end. But as soon as that came out, sure enough, what we start seeing out there on the internet, Kelvin? Oh, well, guess who? Guess who was out there first? Or hey, we didn't have to wear anybody else's name. We wore our name. We were our, and I mean, it was just like Rattler Nation just going with the Prince flashbacks, and I was like, okay, I already see, Kelvin, within the first 5 minutes that this was going to go into some sort of Usher. What was the song they were playing? Usher, yeah, Sonic Boom versus Prince, Purple Rain, and the Marching 100. Do we have to? Does that have to happen? Does that debate have to happen, or Kelvin? Can't we just watch it and
No,
no?
we can't get along. You ain't learn nothing from Rodney King. No, we cannot get along.
There's just no getting along,
hey,
huh?
like you, I watched it. I already knew that it was Jackson State because I had seen people posting about it, so I knew who it was, and I thought it was cool, to be honest.
Yeah,
It don't take away from my shine, but how Jackson State. Come on now, you talking about the Rattlers? Jackson State, they look at they take every moment to rag and the needle our alumni, and it's a lot of us now, so we ain't gonna just chill. We gonna keep receipts. And so you mentioned comparing Prince versus that Super Bowl halftime. I mean, all due respect, there ain't no comparison, brother. But shout out to them. As a matter of fact, I think I posted somewhere in real time that cool, that I thought it was cool, and shout out to. So for me, it wasn't no big deal. I thought it was great to see a HBCU brand out there
yeah,
and doing their thing. So I like when all HBCUs get shine. That's just me though.
right. And then of course, Southern chimed in from out in left field. And as Steve just says there, yeah, Southern caught some strays too, as some
Hey,
videos
but
turned up.
that Dixie video, man, that's
Oh,
damning stuff there, man. That's not good.
you know
Hey, as an HBCU guy, I'm not very proud of that performance.
that was a different time. That was a different time. That was that. I don't know what year that was, but that was a
Hey,
different time and place.
hey, you know how they say all money ain't good money? All publicity ain't good publicity, man. That one didn't age well at all.
No, it didn't. I think they wanted that one to stay hidden, and folks from Jackson State pulled that up and was like, "Yo, y'all need to keep quiet." But anyway, I just just had to pull that out and just sometimes I just want us to maybe get along, but I know that's gonna
Two
carry over.
two of the largest and most vocal fan bases,
Mhm.
very fanatics. We're gonna always chirp. That's just how it is.
Yeah, yeah. And then you throw Southern in there too, and Southern's gonna
Yeah.
chirp too. So it just is what it's gonna be, man. I tell you. Whoa. So yeah, I thought it was what it was. How'd your Super Bowl go? Did the right team win for you?
Well, ultimately I didn't have a dog in the fight because my team we barely make it to the Super Bowl, and when we make it to the Super Bowl we choke. However, I do like the hire with Raheem Morris coming to the Dirty Birds, man, and having KJ on the staff, and I like a lot of what he's done. So I'm very optimistic right now. But in terms of this Super Bowl, hey, I treat Pat Mahomes like Brady, bruh.
Jordan,
I don't
Brady.
I
Yeah.
I don't bet against him.
No.
So I
At
thought
this
they was
point,
going.
at
Yeah,
this point, nobody should. Nobody
yeah,
should. And hopefully, Coach Morris for your Falcons will impress upon them the overtime rules, and so that every player knows what the overtime rules are. Coaching matters. Details matter, right? Man, that was
we
one of those
we
coach.
actually we actually looked it up because until the referee he said what the rules were,
Yeah.
and when he said it, we immediately caught it like, what is
What?
different?
What?
Both
Yeah.
teams, so we
Yeah.
looked it up in real time. Yeah,
Yeah. And he said it was a whole new game too, which played into the whole time structure. So again, but it was kind of interesting as you started to see the Chiefs talking about they knew what was going on versus the Niners not. And it's little things like that
yeah,
which
it
always
matters.
come back to winning and losing.
Yeah,
And so, as a coach, I'm always reminded about little things like that, about details, and they seem like they don't matter, but man, at the end of the day, you heard it makes a difference. It makes a difference. All right, let's do some shout outs before we bring up Coach Colzie. So, again, we got Coach Colzie coming up in just a couple of minutes. So, for you folks out there, make sure to go ahead and share the stream. Let people know. Hit the thumbs up and the like button if you would. Do that early. Do that now. Get that in now. Let's see who we got. First one checking in, Jimmy Matt.
what's up, J
Appreciate
Mac?
Appreciate you coming in. Striking from the Treasure Coast. Appreciate you. FAMU. Ken, good to see you, Ken.
What's up,
Uh,
Ken?
Marcus, good to see you, Marcus. Thank you
What's
for
up,
checking
Marcus?
in. Montre Bennett coming in. Good evening to
Montre.
you. Yes, exactly. Like the stream if you would. Melissa Wilson
Nah.
coming on in. Good to see you, Melissa. Thank you for coming in. Meredith, how you doing,
What's up,
family?
Meredith?
Ashley C. Good to see you, Ashley.
What's up, Ash?
All right, and there it is. Yes, sir, Mr. Campbell, about to get comfortable
The,
and cozy.
the man with 30 titles.
How many different little catchphrases can we come up with? I mean, I've heard everything. I've heard about 10 of them already. So I don't know. We'll have to all kinds of shirt opportunities. Y'all make sure to give Coach Colzie his royalties on all these shirts y'all making out here. Okay. Mary 305. Good to see you, Mary
What's up,
305.
Mary?
B Starks. Good to see you.
What's up, B Starks?
Nehemiah Jefferson.
What's up, Nehemiah?
Appreciate you. Meredith Tamara T. Evening, champ.
What's up, no Kakalaki?
Demetria Offer. Appreciate you coming in.
T-Town.
Yeah. Royal Miriam. All right. Good to see you, family.
Peace.
Mr. Campbell is you funny, Mr. Campbell. Let's see. James Austin coming in.
What's up, Jay Austin?
The year's not over, James. That's all I'll say. It just started. Tony, what up, Tony?
Nah.
Daha checking in. Good to see you. Tremaine Ellis. What's up? How you doing? Let's see. Who else we got? Anybody else that we see?
Hello,
Ashton Harris. Ashton, thank you for coming in.
What's
Yeah,
up,
hello.
Ash?
Appreciate all of you. Karen Griffin, thank you for coming in.
What's up, Karen?
EA coming in. Nothing compares
EA.
with performing with Prince. Yeah, amen.
Amen to that.
Amen. There you go.
Performing with Ghost.
Yeah. Let's see. I haven't seen Dr. Lori. Is Dr. Lori in the building yet? All right. So haven't seen her yet. So you guys be on your best behavior in the chat room here. George. Good to see you, George. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you. Let's see. Anybody else I missed? Oh, I think I got everybody. All right. Always want to remind you guys as you come in, make sure to donate to the Rattler Athletic Fund. You can always take a minute and support FAMU Athletics through our Rattler Athletic Fund. All of our teams need your support. You can pick a team every month if you want and just make a donation, or you could, find a way. You guys have done a great job in supporting all of our sports, softball, tennis, track and field.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we appreciate everybody supporting. So there's that. Donate to the Rattler Athletic Fund when you can, however you can. Don't forget, get your orders in. Your National Champions fan rings available February 29th is the deadline. You ordered yours yet, Kelvin?
Not yet.
Okay.
I get it in. I get it in before the deadline.
Right. I get a couple paychecks and wait for another paycheck to come in.
I get paid monthly.
Oh, see, there you go. I'm curious, you guys out there in the chat, how many of you have ordered your Champions fan ring? Just if you've ordered it, give me a thumbs up in the chat if you've ordered your Champions fan ring. And I did hear that the players and coaches championship rings would be out by the spring game. Kind of is what I heard. I don't know. I heard that in a presser, or where did I hear that? I heard it somewhere. So we'll get to talking about that. All right. So without further ado, let's get ready to bring on the 19th head football coach of Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University.
The head ball coach.
Our head ball coach, none other than Coach James Colzie the third. Coach Colzie, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you guys?
What's going on, Coach?
Hey, Coach. I haven't heard Coach in a long time.
Yes, sir. That's old school there, boy.
Absolutely.
I never knew how old school that was until I heard, I thought that was just an Eddie Jackson thing until I heard some other elder rattlers saying it. I'm like, okay, I didn't know that was a thing.
I thought while the coaching search was going on, I thought somebody spelled coach one time. I thought it was a misspelling, but no, it wasn't a misspelling. They knew exactly what they were spelling.
That's right.
Exactly. Well, Coach, you've been in the position now for full-time position for about 2 or 3 weeks. What has this, getting boots to the ground and just kind of getting everything going? What has this period been like for you and your family, and just kind of getting adjusted to everything?
Well, to be honest with you, I think that kind of took the head coaching role January 1st, when everything was going on. Before everything kind of happened with Coach Simmons, him and I had some conversations beforehand, and he expressed kind of what was going on and what he was hoping would happen. And then after he ends up going to Duke, AD Sykes and I had a conversation as well. So the opportunity was during that time frame, attack this like you're the head football coach at Florida A&M, and that's what I did. We didn't go in there and sit down on our hands and things like that. We thought it was extremely important to make sure we took care of the players that we still had here. Obviously we lost some guys for graduation and things of that nature, but our team was starting classes. Coach Forney, our director of strength and conditioning, he was starting to lift the guys. So the staff that was there and myself included, the thought process was make sure we took care of the current guys that would be suiting up for us in 2024.
Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, Coach, as and I know I've watched a lot of interviews that you've done, so I know hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about the recruiting class and sort of maybe one of your first times since the recruiting special, and maybe even some new guys and things like that. But I'm curious about the move when you were in Canada coaching, and so the move to come back into Florida or back into the States and with Coach Simmons. Talk a little bit about the what brought you to Florida A&M, what brought you back into the States, and did you have visions or aspirations of being a head coach? Or maybe I don't know if you had a time frame on it, but just talk a little bit about where you were as your time in Canada was coming to an end.
Well, I had spent 7 years in Canada. A lot of people didn't even know that I was out there. Besides my mentors or my friends within the coaching range, but throughout that time frame, I had 3 other opportunities during that 7-year period where I had opportunities to come back down here, come back down south. And, during that time frame, it wasn't the right time. And then, Coach Sharp, who had done a hell of a job here previously, was moving on to Purdue. I had a couple phone calls in to Coach Smith. Welcome, Mary. I had a couple calls into Coach Smith, a couple calls into Coach Simmons, and Coach Simmons and I, even throughout my time while I was in Canada, we kept close contact. So when this opportunity arose, obviously, playing at Florida State, being a GA at Florida State, this was going to be my third opportunity to come back to Tallahassee. It was somewhat of a no-brainer. The only negative part was, me leaving a football team, that I had helped build in Canada. But, I thought with my wife and my two boys, I thought it was the best opportunity for me to, take this. For me, it might be the last time being asked to come back down, but then also have an opportunity to come back to Florida or come to Florida A&M. It was a no-brainer.
True. Go ahead, Kelvin.
Coach, I'm interested to know where are we currently? 2 weeks in, you just had a recruiting class. You've got a couple of positions where you're going to need to fill on your staff. And I thought I read somewhere where, by the beginning of March, you hope to have a lot of that filled in. But kind of talk about where you are currently with your staffing and where the team is currently with your roster management.
Well, I'll say this, right? We lost some really, really quality people. They weren't just great coaches; they were great people as well. You're trying to say, well, how are you going to replace, Coach Simmons, the head football coach, and the offensive coordinator, the quarterback coach, the leader of the unit, right? So it's going to be hard to replace him. It's going to be hard to replace defensive coordinator Ryan Smith. It's going to be hard to replace Troy Johnson, who was our director of football operations, but we have to, right? And I think the thought process has been, we want to make sure we get the right fit. So it looks like I've already found who my director of football operations will be. Believe it or not, that was one of the first hires I wanted to make. And then hopefully by the end of this week, we've been doing interviews and as such, and hopefully, we should be done by the end of the week with who our, offensive staff, our new addition to our offensive staff, and our new addition to our defensive staff. So I think that's the thought process. We've had some. You guys would be surprised with the amount of people that have called and have offered. What do you call them? Not acknowledgments or just say, Coach Colzie, you should talk to this guy, or recommendations and things of such. Right. So it's a well sought out position. People are looking to come to a program that just won a national championship. So the numerous phone calls, the numerous recommendations was expected. So we try to keep it close to the chest. We had 3 or 4 people on each side of the football. We've interviewed them. We got 1 or 2 more tomorrow. And then hopefully by Friday, I'm able to, sew up this staff and get ourselves ready for spring practice.
Okay. So, and to tie into that, we are coming off a championship run. We do have a good core of players and coaches returning. You were a part of that. So talk about being able to meet the moment, so to speak. So, the expectations are going to be what they are. Yes. It's going to be championship, right? Yeah. But, that's last year. This is this year's team. So they got to, get back started. So talk about your philosophy. Just like when Nick Saban left Alabama, a lot of people would be concerned about following legends and having high expectations. Talk about your philosophy in following, a legend and having high expectations with this team.
Well, I think people don't realize how important this thing is to our players. I think people really, really need to understand that, for the first month, right, them guys were in there 5:30 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the afternoon getting after it, right? Like that was the whole month of January, lifting Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, right? And, just this past Tuesday, right, they were still lifting Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, today's Wednesday. Yesterday, we added on top of them our fourth quarter drills, where we're also getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we're doing agilities. And we had 97 guys out there Tuesday, and it was as if we were looking at last year's team getting ready to make that championship run. So, you got JP Pruitt, a guy who's going to be a really, really good player for us, challenging himself. Kendall Bowler, who was on all conference, all SWAC corner, who was on a couple All-American lists this past year, challenging himself, challenging his teammates, right? Kelvin Dean, the offensive MVP for the Celebration Bowl, again, challenging himself, challenging his teammates, right? So it's not hard to meet the moment when the guys are doing everything imaginable to get themselves back to where we finished, right? So, to me, I have my own little wrinkles when I'm, what I'm asking our guys to do. And, I'm going to be my own man in this process. But, Coach Simmons did a heck of a job of building that foundation where the changes that I have to make aren't a lot. We're gonna still yell family. We're gonna still do the Lord's Prayer, after every practice. We're gonna meet every single thing that we did in the past. But do I have some changes that I'm throwing in there? Absolutely. But it's not gonna be something that's gonna be earth-shattering to our football team. I need our guys to be our guys. That's what they're doing. I need our guys to be the leaders. I need our guys to show up to lifts. I need them to attend class. I need them to make sure that they're giving me their best when they're on the football field. And as long as they do that, the moment will be met because we should be where we need to be, especially at the talent that we have on our football team.
Coach, why were you the right guy for this job? A lot of what Rattler Nation was talking about and wanting continuity was because we felt like we had a championship pedigree that you all had built collectively. And, we didn't want to see that bothered with, so to speak. But how do you feel about the fact, you as the head coach now and having some experience, understanding the roster, understanding how we operate as a university, understanding, the staff and the strengths and the weaknesses and so forth. How does that benefit you as you step into the role as the head ball coach?
Well, I mean, I think with the familiarity aspects with the transfer portal, right? A lot of the guys that were rallying around me and, and hoping that I would get the nod was, because they know me. Right. I think I did the last couple of years. I was coaching the defensive backs and coaching the corners and coaching the defensive backs with Coach Morgan. I think, we spent a lot of time with other players. Right. There's stuff that, Jalen Goss needing something from me was not something out of the ordinary. He needed me to make a phone call. Right. That wasn't out of the ordinary for him asking me that because him and I had a relationship before I was named the head coach, right? Junior Maristovic, right? Like him needing something or asking me or whatever the case may be for something that was normal for him, not just now, but throughout the years. So, I thought, having that relationship with those guys outside of football, I think they understood that to me it was bigger than football. And so I think that went a long way. But these guys really, really love Florida A&M. They really, really love it, right? And again, trust me, with my resume or whatever I had done previously, if I was not at Florida A&M, then I would not have been the guy that would have been well received as the head football coach here, right? So, just being around them, understanding them needing me for certain things or whatever the case may be. And then, I think the guys saw me work with my individual position that I had as well, right? We worked them hard. They know I demand the best from those guys and from them. So I think they know that I'm going to demand that from them as well. So, and I think the Coach Simmons, speaking highly of me, right, giving me the assistant head coach title last year, that said a lot as well. Like, hey, like if or when Coach Simmons leaves, possibly the next guy could be James Colzie III, especially with him sitting as the assistant head coach.
All right, that's it's interesting, important that you said that about just that relationship that you had with all of the players. I mean, I think that was kind of interesting because, obviously a lot of times people may think, oh, he's just a position coach and maybe he's not as connected with the offense. But as you just talked about, you built, what was it that allowed you to be able to build those relationships with not just obviously your position group, but the other side of the ball as well? What kind of things, or maybe speak to your personality or just things that allowed for that relationship to grow?
Well, just in my past, I knew, I coached Kendall Bowler, I coached BJ Bowler, I coached Eric Smith throughout my 2 years here. I used to see them all the time. You know what I mean? And I remember, from my previous coaches in my past, they would always tell me as a young coach, it's important to know the other side. I'm going to talk to Eric Smith all day. So before practice, me and the offensive line do something before every single practice. We always have this little slap that this little clap that we would always do. And then, during that time, during stretching, I'm always going to do something with the running backs, right? And, before every game, with Jordan Musa, him and I had a hug, and we would always talk before the game. So, little things like that, I think, went a long way. And then again, just when you see him in the hallway, just, I very rarely ask him about football. I mean, how's your family doing? Right? How's your girlfriend? How are your significant others doing? And how are you doing in classes? Right? So, just those little notions, those little questions, those little conversations ended up being even bigger conversations because we had stuff to talk about after the fact. Right? So, I think when it was all going down and the players that were speaking for me are speaking, for me, there was a lot of offensive players speaking for me. Defensive guys, I saw them, Coach Colzie, hope you get it, et cetera, et cetera. But I think oftentimes, I had some offensive guys that were speaking for me as well, and I thought that went a long way.
Yeah, definitely it did. Okay, well, Coach, one of the big questions regarding positions now, or before we get into talking about some of these upcoming recruits that you signed in a first class, a great first class, by the way. You talked about that recruiting, well, the football ops position. And I remember you saying that was one of the ones you really wanted to get in-house so you can get some of that paperwork off your desk. I see. If you guys only knew off screen, Coach is shuffling papers left and right. Coach is like this. They have papers over here. And I'm like, I know. Coach is like, I got to get some of this paperwork off my desk. And then obviously you're looking to name an OC, a DC. But talk a little. Everyone's asking about the recruiting coordinator position. I know Coach Riz Press really made a strong name for himself over the last 2 years. Will you be looking to bring someone in to specifically fill that role this first year, or maybe is that something that you're looking to do in the future? Talk a little bit about that position, if you will.
Well, I mean, let's first and foremost, Coach Riz heading to Colorado just was a testament to how hard he worked and the amount of success that we had here at Florida A&M. And I don't want to negate when that position itself. I was really, I was hoping to maybe hire someone before signing day, because the importance of signing day. But then after we did hit signing day, and we were able to keep the majority of the guys that we had signed and that were already on our campus. That's going to be my fourth position that I would say that I'm going to hire. But the fact remains, it still remains to me that I still need to have that done by spring before we start spring practice, because spring recruiting will start 3 to 4 weeks after that. So will I bring somebody in? Yes, for sure. Will he have the charisma? Will him or her have the charisma? I highly doubt they're going to have the charisma that Coach Riz had. But I think the position that I'm looking for is someone that's going to be similar to him, right? A guy who had great contacts, a guy who understood Tallahassee, a guy who understood Florida A&M, and is going to understand the needs that we're going to need for this football team. So I have a couple ideas of who I want it to be and what I'm looking for. But I'm also going to need that position to make sure that they're extremely tight and extremely disciplined on the other side of campus. That's going to be extremely important to me, making sure that we're handling our paperwork, making sure we're handling all the things necessary for the other side of the campus to be happy with us, not just on the football field, but also how we're handling ourselves on the paperwork aspect.
I got that. Understood. Okay. Also, you've talked about not changing much from the defensive perspective. I think I don't want to pin you in, but I thought you said you're going to probably stick with the 4-2-5. And a lot of things defensively work so well. You are a part of that group, so you don't see too many things changing. Offensively, though, and with bringing in a new OC, is there a style that you want to see or whatever you can give us, because that's what people are itching for. What can you tell us about, dare I say it, offensive philosophy, or what kind of things are you wanting to be able to do on the offensive side of the ball, Coach?
Well, I want you to go back to the tape, because I never once said that I was looking for an OC.
Oh, okay.
I said an offensive coach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
But I'll say this. The way we ran our offense the last couple of years, and especially this past year, that did marvels for us on defense. All of the coming out in one formation and then shifting to another, and then bringing motion. That actually helped us out a bunch, because when teams would do that to us, we were ready for it. We understood what it meant. We understood that our communication had to be better. Now, the same thing that we've done the last couple of years, not looking to change that at all. So extremely similar to our defense, how I'm not going to change very much with that either. So yes, you guys can let it rattle and think about who it's going to be, but my whole thing is not to change anything on either side of the football. And we can't forget about what we're doing on our special teams. Our special teams coordinator was with us this past year as well. For me, if I'm bringing anyone in, it will be someone that has the understanding of what we do on offense and defense. So 4-2-5 will stay the same. Offensively, I love our shifts. I love our motions. I love our formations. And believe me when I tell you this, the announcements will come a lot sooner than people think. They've already been made. Again, the key word was continuity. And I'm not going away from that. If I was going to do all of these changes, then why hire me to begin with? And I truly, truly understand that. I fully grasp that situation. And I know our players are going to be extremely happy with what I'm going to do as well. And I want to make sure that they understand that as well.
You don't want to break any news right here live on the show, do you, Coach?
Not yet.
Oh,
but I think you guys already know what the news is. But I got there's university policies I must follow. Sure. I'm able to say certain things. But again, I'm extremely happy with what we're doing. We've installed some things already over the last couple of days. So I wish you guys could see how our guys are going about business right now. And trust me, we're making a run it back. I know we got a lot of different phrases that are going on right now, but our guys are committed to the work. The staff is committed to the work, and I think you guys are going to be extremely excited about what we do and what we're bringing to the 2024 season.
Gotcha. Kelvin, you want to get into some of these recruits, or what do you got?
Well, before we get into the recruits, I'm interested for Coach to tell us how is he going to approach spring. We got a very challenging fall schedule. We got 2 FBS opponents. We play 2 MEAC opponents, and then we got the SWAT schedule. So this is a very challenging schedule coming up. 12 games, 2 byes. But in terms of the spring, how do you approach what you want to get accomplished? And then the spring game itself, is it going to be similar to what previous spring games, or you got some wrinkles you want to do with it?
Well, I think there are some things practice-wise that I may change, but I don't think I'm going to do that in the spring. I would do that more so in the fall. We are. I don't want to say we're a little limited as far as our defensive line right now. That's a couple. I think we need a couple more guys at that position. We're myself and Coach Patterson and Coach Henry right now, we're discussing how we want to maybe handle whether we want to do controlled scrimmages, whether we want to do the game again. So we're still kind of going back and forth with that. What wrinkles? I know that when you have new play callers, right? I think it's important, and I don't want to wait till the first game of the year to see if these guys can call an offense or see if they can call a defense just yet. So you have a lot more situations that we would do during the spring. Put our guys to the coming out situations, the red zone situations where there'll be a lot less scripts where, hey, look, we need to make calls, right? Let's start calling these things like games, even though they might be situations, but let's just start calling these things like games, like we're in a game situation on both sides of the field. I will do some more special teams in the spring. A lot of times in the spring when you do special teams, you're doing it on air. No, I don't want to necessarily do it on air. I want to find some really, really good special teams players during our spring, so then they can be better in the fall. So, there'll be a lot more competitions. Last year we already knew who the quarterback was going to be. We already knew who our Mike linebacker was going to be. We had a firm grasp of who some of our O-linemen will be. So, we'll be a little bit more live than maybe normal, a little bit more competition. I want to see guys finish with the ball. I want to see how they finish when the ball's in the air, how they finish on blocks. So there may be a little bit more competition as far as what we do, but there'll be more game-like situations, I think, in the spring than maybe people are accustomed to.
Okay. All right.
Okay, let's get into. I just want to. I don't want to go through the entire recruits, coach, because I know you did all that earlier. But let's try to hit on a few names of interest in Kelvin. I'll go through a couple, and if you got a couple that you want to talk on, let's go. But let's start with two of the recruits that'll come in, and obviously Daniel Richardson. I tell you, coach, I think is great for you and great for the program that you get a new coach and you get an opportunity to kind of lay the seed and foundation for this season with a new quarterback. And Daniel Richardson, a new recruit. You've already got 3 good guys that are in the room from last year, maybe 4 actually. Don't want to cut anybody short. And then you bring in Daniel Richardson and also Austin Hooker. What I know Richardson has been there already working. Talk a little bit about the quarterback room or that group in general. I don't want to put you in a spot and kind of say spotlight one guy or the other, but just talk about what kind of things are you going to be looking for that's going to separate these guys, and that fans can sort of kind of pay attention to through the course of the spring as we get closer to August when you do actually name or whoever QB1 is for game 1?
Well, I'll first and foremost say, it's going to be extremely hard to replace Jordan Musa, right? We already know he had, he controlled the room, over the last 2 years. It didn't matter who we brought in. The quarterback was going to be Jordan Musa, for the 22 and 23 season. So now, losing a guy like that, and then having the opportunity to bring a guy at the FBS level like a Daniel Richardson, who, he's thrown for almost 5,000, 6,000 yards at the FBS level. It was somewhat of a no-brainer, to be completely honest with you, right? We when he came in before, right? He was when Coach Simmons was hired, was still our head coach. And then everything kind of went down when Coach Simmons left. Him and Daniel and I had a very, very good conversation about his future at Florida A&M, and we both thought it was important, regardless of whether I was named or whatever the case may be. We thought it was important for him to be here, right? If you were going to be here, as opposed to flip-flopping, going everywhere you wanted to go, he wanted to be somewhere where it would be a firm opportunity to be the starter at Florida A&M. So, obviously, Junior leaves. I mean, not Junior, Musa leaves, right? And then you got a guy like Junior who's been backing up Musa, for the last couple of years, who's looking for his opportunity as well. So, you got some guys that are in the room that have ability. You got some guys in the room that have stats. You have some guys that have worn the Rattler uniform and have won games as starters, right? So the biggest thing that I'm going to be looking for from that position is just decision making, right? Put getting the ball in the hands of our guys, right? And then when it's all said and done, do we throw the ball over the top to try to take a chance? Or do we take the check down to get the ball to Kelvin Dean or get the ball to our tight ends and get good yardage from that position, right? So, that's going to be the biggest thing for me. I know on the offensive side, we're looking for a leader as well, and Daniel and Junior have done a great job in the weight room. Installing the type of leader that they'll be, setting up our throw around, setting up our walkthroughs, things like that. So, going to need a leader, going to need a guy who's going to make very, very good decisions back there. And obviously a guy who can spin the football, but getting the ball to our receivers, you got Jamari Gassett, you got Kareem Burke, you got our tight ends, Kobe Gross and JP Pruitt. Just get the ball to them, then let them do the rest. And then but you're also they're gonna have a real good test going against our defense, where we've been pretty opportunistic, right? So we'll if you can beat us on defense, that means you probably have an opportunity to beat a lot of the other teams in the conference. So hey, make the right decisions. Right. Hey, it's okay to punt on 4th down if we have to. Don't want any turnovers. So those are, and I'm looking at what type of leader you're going to be on the field and off the field. So, again, we got 2 guys that are kind of taking the reins a little bit. The guys that are kind of behind them right now, they're doing a good job of learning. And again, it's an offense. The only one who's really having to learn this offense right now is Daniel. Right. All these other guys have already been in it. They know the verbiage. They know the terminology. So, again, Daniel's going to have to make that adjustment to what we call things, as opposed to bringing a whole new set in that everyone has to work with. So we get that benefit. Coach Henry, Coach Carter, Coach Wyndham, those guys on the offensive side, our GAs and our QCs, they're all installing that system. They're all helping Daniel Richardson along. But for me, let's just make good decisions. I need a quality leader. And then when it's all said and done, let's get the ball in the hands of our athletes so we can allow them to make plays.
Gotcha. All right, and one other name from the defensive side, Kelvin, and I'll give it to you. Bryan Harold. I saw you talk about him, and you lit up when you talked about the freshman from Chaminade Madonna, Bryan Harold, and you almost said something to the effect of, oh, he's a young man that is going to have an opportunity to make that first and second. I'm paraphrasing here. You didn't say it, but I'm paraphrasing. My interpretation of what you were saying is that is a young man who's going to get an opportunity from the jump because he's that good. Talk a little bit about Bryan and that program at Chaminade Madonna and just what you liked about this young man's future in orange and green.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, you get a young man who was a Division I recruit, right? A true Division I recruit, and that portal is hurting high school kids about as much as anybody in the country. And a young man who had some FBS offers at some programs that decided to go the portal route. And Coach Jones, who's the head football coach at Chaminade Madonna, I believe it or not, I was. It was the weekend that I was named the head coach, but I went down there and, I got a chance to talk to Coach Jones, and we talked about the young man, and he basically said, "Hey, Coach, like this guy was supposed to be at some schools. He did not have the opportunity, he was offered, and they pulled the offer because they went the transfer portal route. Then he walks in, he's every bit of 6'1", he's every bit of 6'1", 6'2", every bit of 300 pounds." And I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch Chaminade Madonna at the state championship game.
Oh, yeah.
He might have been the second or third best guy on the field, because of the things that he was doing, right? And so it was a no-brainer for me. Obviously, academically, we had to make sure he was up to par. He is. He's a young man that wanted to see FAMU, and he came, and Friday night he committed. So we didn't even have to finish the entire visit. He was already coming. So, that's just a tribute to our campus. That's a tribute to the students. That's a tribute to the faculty that he met, our staff that he met. And so, for a guy like that who's got Division I talent, he's lifting almost 400. He's a bencher of almost 450 pounds. I mean, it's a guy that, you just hope can understand the defense, understand the vigor of how hard it is to be a Division I college football athlete. You worry about those little things, but as a football player, he's got a really, really good chance for us. And Coach Patterson did a hell of a job of my reason for saying that about him making a contribution was Coach Patterson did a hell of a job last year of using almost 5 to 6 interior defensive linemen. That's what we do. We just don't play two. So if a guy who's coming in at that with those numbers, that type of ability, if he can get into that 5 or 6 numbers as guys use, that's a tribute to how good he is, but that's also a tribute to us, our defense, to having the ability to put him in. Now, if he doesn't make it or he doesn't understand, rest assured he won't be in there. But if he does give us a great opportunity to just control the middle. Don't forget, we got 92, we got 99, we got some guys in there that have won some quality football games for us. But every once in a while, if they got a rest, that would only make them even better at the end of the third or at the end of the fourth quarter. So if we can get Harold some experience early, that'll be great for him, but that'll also be great for us.
Gotcha. All right, Kelvin, who are your two guys?
Well, I'm gonna weave two together. One person who's recommitted, and then I want them to talk about the kids who were in the portal. I'm trying to figure out are the kids who went in the portal who are already on the team, are they still in the portal? Who's still in the portal? Who's still out? But of course the person I'm referring to that recommitted was the running back from Florida State, of course. Yeah. And I happen to have watched this guy myself from the field level for the last couple of years in the spring games and then on game day and so forth. The kid is extremely talented. Yeah. Of course, he played for a team that went 13-0 and has two NFL running backs in front of him, and he still played. And when he played, he was he put up good numbers and so forth. So talk about the whole re-recruiting of him, number one, and that relationship. And then the second part to the question is talk about the kids who are on the team that still are in the portal or whether they're out of the portal.
Okay. Rodney Hill, when everything kind of went down with him, when he committed, obviously everyone's excited. Then you immediately go to his highlights, and he's running through LSU defensive players and things of that nature. And he committed to us and was excited about the opportunity. And then obviously when everything happens with Coach Simmons, he decommits. But believe it or not, from our decommitments that we had during that time frame, Rodney Hill was one of the guys I still was speaking to. Look, man, hey, let this unfold. I think you can have a great opportunity here. And then obviously, then he goes to Miami, right? He's committed to Miami. So then once he committed to Miami, to me, regardless, all bets were off with me after that. I said, hey, man, you're committed to Miami. It's a great opportunity. So I left it alone. So after doing that, about a few days while school starts, he said, Coach, I get a phone call, and are you still interested in me? And I'm like, well, first of all, who are you? who am I interested in? And then he says his name, and I get up from my desk, and Coach Wyndham, our running back coach, he's obviously excited because he knew I was getting ready to get the phone call, and et cetera, et cetera. So, then we had a little work to do to get him into school. Our AD did a great job to assist us and to get him into school and things of that nature. So, again, he was a no-brainer, right? But before he did commit to UM, the conversation with him was extremely productive. We talked about the ability of being the guy or being one of the guys at the position, and obviously the success that we had last year with Jennings and Yant and Dean can show that you could be successful with 2-3 running backs regardless of the situation. So, but for him, I think he loved the city of Tallahassee. We got a great opportunity to keep him here. Again, he went to our morning drills Tuesday. He's been to our lifts, and right now he's just trying to catch up academically, trying to catch up in the weight room. And I think once we get that done with him, we should see the same running back we saw while he was wearing garnet and gold. Guys that are in the portal right now, there's only one guy that is still in the portal. The other guys that were in, I don't know if I can actually say that or not, but
gotcha.
Believe it or not, there's only one that's still in. So the other ones that were in, and they're now out. They were all a part of the 96 on the field Tuesday morning. So we got one still waiting, and again, that's what they're allowed to do, right? Yeah. There's no penalty, there's no judgment for me. That's what the NCAA is allowing them to do. Believe me, when he decides to come back, there'll be a lot of open arms waiting on him to come back. And once he does, then we'll be excited for him. And if he decides to go somewhere else, we'll still be excited for him because the guy did a great job for us, for the 2 years, especially for the 2 years that I've been here.
All right, Coach, this is your introduction, even though you've had other interviews. This is your introduction to Rattler Nation.
Okay.
I know a little bit about your history and your family's history and so forth, but I want you to talk about, your history and your family. All the Rattler Nation don't know your history. So just talk about your South Florida roots, your family, and all that good stuff.
Well, my mom told me to be humble, so now you having me go against my mother.
It is what it is, Coach.
I think. I guess I'll start with my grandfather. My grandfather, James Colzie Sr., he's in the Negro League Hall of Fame. He was a Negro League pitcher. And we all know why we had the Negro Leagues back then. My uncles and my aunts. You got my uncle Neil, first round draft pick for the Oakland Raiders in the mid '70s. All pro safety. He was the big safety back in the days. He was every bit of 6'2", 210 pounds, maybe bigger than that. My dad used to say, but he went to Ohio State. Was an All-American there. My uncle Rick Colzie was the first black baseball player at FSU in the '70s. He played in the Cleveland Indians organization. I had an uncle, Anthony Colzie, who was a big-time basketball player down in South Florida, and he played at Albany State. My aunts, they were all track athletes, Albany State. They were all Albany State grads, went there. So after that, I guess that's myself. I had a great opportunity to play football and baseball. I was blessed with the opportunity to play football and baseball at Florida State. Played 4 years of football, year and a half of baseball. So I was cornerback. I was too big. I wasn't big enough to play anything else. But I was a 2-year starter during the 95, 96 season. I think I finished with like 9 interceptions, but everyone wants to talk about the one that I had. But hell, I had 9. But from that time frame, after all that, bounced around with Tampa Bay Buccaneers, played in the minor leagues with the Montreal Expos. But from the year of 1999, I've coached college football. I think that's all I've done. I started off at FIU, started their program. I was one of the very first coaches there. Came back to Florida State as a GA to work with Coach Bowden through the 04-07 season. And we all know the trials and the tribulations as a football coach. You're going to move a lot of places. So during that time frame, I've lived in Valdosta, Georgia. I've lived in Carrollton, Georgia. I've lived in Magnolia, Arkansas, Vancouver, back to Coffeyville, back to Vancouver, lived in Halifax, and now I'm back in Tallahassee for my 3rd stop. So I'm hoping this is my last stop, to be honest with you. I think that you get an opportunity to be in a place for a long time. You get a chance to. I know my wife's tired of moving and whatnot, but I think this is a place where you can hopefully retire. But to retire and be here for a long time, you got to have success. I know full that we ain't tolerating no bull job here at Florida A&M, and I know the expectations are high. I understand that the expectations are high, and believe me, my expectations are high as well. So, again, been around a lot of good places, been around a lot of good people. I've had a lot of good players to help with my success. But trust me when I say this, man, this is the best job in the country, and I'm not just saying this. This is, when we went maybe that different route earlier in January, and then now coming full circle to getting the opportunity. I had to call a lot of people because a lot of prayers were given to me, and they were answered once I was given this opportunity. So I don't take it lightly. I want the Rattler fans to understand I'm not taking this job lightly. We're not taking this as a job, as a carryover to something else. Believe me, that is not the case. The plan is to be here for a very, very long time and to hoist numerous trophies throughout my tenure.
Well said, Coach.
Well said. Well said. A couple of quick, just off-the-cuff questions for you here, Coach. Fans have sent us emails, and of course in the chat room. What do you like to, when you're not thinking about football, what do you like to do in your spare time?
Wow. Sit down. To be honest with you, I like to sit down. That's an opportunity. I'm a big. If I'm not playing it or coaching, I like sports. I got a chance. You guys were talking about the Super Bowl. I got a chance to watch the Super Bowl, and I'm a big time Celtic fan. I'm a fan of teams that my dad didn't like. That was my dad and I's fight. So if I tell you that I'm a Celtic fan, what fan would my dad have been?
He's a Laker fan.
There you go. So I'm a big time North Carolina fan because in the 80s it was Michael Jordan. So if I'm a North Carolina fan, that means my dad was what fan? What's my fan?
Duke. He's a Duke fan.
Well, believe it or not, he was a Georgetown fan. So he was
Georgetown. Okay.
But because of North Carolina's national championship game in '82.
Right. So, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So if I'm not coaching it, I'm a big fan of watching it. So I'll believe me, on bye weeks, if I'm not doing film, I'm watching every single game from 12 o'clock till 7:30 that night. So I'm watching the sporting event more than likely.
All right, what's your favorite food? People want to know. They might be sending you stuff, Coach. They might be sending you dishes and preparing foods for you, especially when you get to that 220 Club meeting. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite food?
It's smoked ribs.
Ooh,
I'm a smoked rib guy, and I need it to be on top of something. If it's on top of something, whatever it is, as long as it's on top of something, so I can dig it out and see what it is, I'm good with that. Now my mom made cabbage, and she, so I'm a cabbage guy as well. But if it's smoked ribs on top of something, you can't go wrong.
Okay, that's good stuff. Good stuff. One other question about, now you're on social media. You've got your social media handle. Are you active with the Twitter and the Instagram?
Well,
or what?
I am, and believe it or not, my players are killing me. They're like, Colzie, man, you are a public figure. You need to. So I believe it or not, when everything went down on Saturday. So on Saturday, believe it or not, I was in Miami, Florida. Saturday, so the announcement happens on Saturday. I'm in Miami, Florida. Believe it, I was on the road recruiting, and I had already gotten a phone call from Miss Sykes. And Miss Sykes was like, Colzie, I need you to get a suit. So I had to go get a suit when everything was going on. And so while that happened, I actually put my phone away. Like, I'm like, look, man, I was in the mall with my sisters and we were just walking and talking. So I put my phone away. So that Sunday we had church. Again, not looking at my phone. Every once in a while, just, saying thank you to whoever texted me. Well, from that time, I think I had about 400 or 500 requests on both sides. So I already knew where they were coming from. So I was like, man, I can't sit up here and do all of that. So now I'm kind of going back and forth or whatever the case may be. Well, I've now have, I think, 1,700 and something on IG, and like, I don't even know how many people on Twitter, because they don't tell you how many people you got requesting you. So I'm working my way through it. Kelvin Dean has promised me that he will be able to one that he's like, Coach, I got to give me your phone. I'm gonna take care of your settings because you got to get off of private. I'm like, well, all right. So yes, to answer your question, I will be, and I'll be thankful to Kelvin Dean. I think I just accepted you guys tonight. So, yeah. And I think you guys said that 3 weeks ago. So I apologize, but I'm catching up, and that'll be thankful to Kelvin Dean. But I'll be real active on my social media from here on out.
And by the way, that's a good looking suit, though.
I appreciate it.
You're looking sharp. You're looking sharp.
I try. I mean, well, you look at the crew I'm with. They were all dressed good, so I knew I had to tighten my game up as well.
Exactly. There it is. Coach looking fresh and clean. All right. Kelvin, any final questions that you want to just quickly get in there with Coach? He's been gracious with his time. So anything last that you want to ask Coach?
No questions. Just want to congratulations. A lot of people are very optimistic and excited for this, for you in this opportunity, and have great confidence that you, the staff, the team, you all will make us proud, as you always do anyway, and as you did last season. Rattler Nation is behind you. Of course, a lot of us went to bat to try to, just make sure that where we stood was known. We ultimately the decision was the decision, but we did try to make sure, hey, this is where we at, So congratulations. Looking excited to hear, how your staff is going to shake out, and excited to see your program continue to move forward and be successful.
I appreciate this, guys. And believe it or not, I've heard you guys before, and you guys are doing an amazing job. And maybe we have a call next week when I announce the staff. So maybe that's something that you guys decide you guys want to do.
Absolutely.
And I trust me, I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and I appreciate the fans. Believe me, when they were doing all that HR stuff, I was just hoping that I was number 16. So and look, I guess I was. I don't know, but all I knew was that number 16. That guy was damn good.
Everybody loved that guy.
Whoever he was, I knew he was damn good. So, but again, I appreciate you guys and looking forward to doing this again. Hopefully, I get a chance to we do this again. But just keep in mind, April 13th, spring game or spring scrimmage will happen, and I think softball's playing that afternoon, so we're gonna try to scale that back to give people the opportunity to come to both. And just want to say thanks again, and I'm looking forward to doing this again.
All right,
Coach, our platform is yours. Anytime you got our email, you got our phone number. Anytime you want to get a message out to Rattler Nation, even if it's just behind the scenes, all you gotta do is let us know. I mean, okay. We are here for you, and we tell all the coaches. I know people have even talked about how they can continue to support the program, and I don't know if that's just through the Rattler Athletic Fund or other means, but however you want us to communicate that to Rattler Nation. Yeah. Let us know, and we'll pass that along as well, because as you have seen, we come and support. We support ours. So,
absolutely.
All you gotta do is let us know, whether it be for the assistant coaches or the players. Just let us know, Coach, and we'll work on getting it done and making it happen.
Hey, thank you very, very much, guys, and continue doing a great job, guys. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach James Colzie III. Make sure to follow him at Coach Colzie on Twitter or X and IG. Coach, have a good night. God bless you, Coach. We'll talk soon.
Have a good one, guys.
All right. Hey, that was awesome.
It was.
Hey, appreciate you guys.
He's gonna do just fine. Man. He's. We done good.
Got to appreciate all of you for your questions. The folks who sent emails in, Alfred, Palmore, Ashley, Coleman, Tracy Campbell, Nigel. I don't want to get the last name wrong, but the others. Those of you who sent us questions, whether it be on the chats and so on and so forth, man, we appreciate you. It's always kind of weird when obviously, coaches, he's done some good interviews already, with Germany. Shout out to Germany. Bozeman did a great job getting the first interview with Coach on Rattler Plus. And then I've heard Coach in a couple other places. And so it's like you're always wondering, okay, what haven't we heard, from Coach yet? So I thought you did a great job with the questions there, Kelvin. And appreciate you guys. Thank you. I appreciate all of you in Rattler Nation for responding as well. Okay, let's take a break, because when we come back, we got to talk about, there's a walking bucket that's been moving through the SWAC, and she just lights it up, and it does in so many different ways. She is cooking. That's all I'm gonna tell you. We're gonna talk about the future SWAC Player of the Year. I said it. I told y'all 3 weeks ago. So it's good to see other folks are finally catching up.
Hey, and I hate to do this, but sorry, not sorry. Folks gonna stop picking against them Rattlers too.
Hey, there's some
long as they healthy.
Hey,
them lady Rattlers for real.
Hey, we going into that dungeon with a healthy squad this Saturday. That's all I'm gonna say. Be careful. Be careful. Big
pressure.
Big game hunters. Watch out. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say nothing else. That's all I'm gonna say. Big game hunters coming to a state east of Alabama, west of Alabama, near you. All right, let's take a break. Come back and let's talk a little bit more about all these other athletic programs that FAMU busy weekend upcoming. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a couple of moments.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em. It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, clean bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com, That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
All right. Welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier here. Want to see if I can hit up some of the comments and things from you guys. Of course, you can always support the show. You know, it is Valentine's Day. You can show the show a little bit of love. You love what we're doing. You know, you can always drop a donation, you know, in the Cash App right there, right as you see.
Hey, Brian, what is the best nation? What is the best nation?
Well, Rattler Nation.
No, donation.
Oh, look at that. Well, oh man, that's a beautiful one. There's a beautiful one. See, I thought that was a Kofi special. I thought that was me coming. I was gonna say something else, and then I'm like, you know, that's just like me wearing a blue shirt. See, I get in trouble if I say, he'd say, no, Brian, it's Rattler Nation.
Hey, I got a partner who's a panhandler, and he hit me up with that all the time, man. He's a riot.
Well, hey, speaking of that, you can always, the Cash App, you can hit the square on the QR code, or if you're in the YouTube there on our Jericho Broadcast Network's page, you can always leave a super chat. We appreciate you. You can also join the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page and help support Black media, HBCU media, as the Black College Sports Network's streams.
Hey, it seems like James Austin know my boy.
The Black College Sports Network, we are streaming multiple HBCU basketball games in one day at one time. Show me another entity that is doing that. Yeah, okay. All right. So you can always support the show that way. Hey, I want to take a second while we're so just a couple of the comments here. EA, I love you, but EA be coming with like the messy questions that he wants asked. And I've been like, EA, I'm not gonna ask Coach Colzie what you wanted me to ask. And if you're in the chat room, you know. I love you, EA, because you always come with the fire, but I am not gonna ask Coach Colzie to talk about his
not right now. Not right now.
We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. I didn't get a chance to ask. Tony had a good question about any scholarships available in the spring semester going forward into the summer. That was a good question. I didn't get a chance to ask him that. Mr. Figures had a good question. Now, you want to break this down because obviously Coach was talking in coach speak, Kelvin. So can you clarify, or what are your thoughts there on what Coach was probably trying to say that he couldn't say, obviously?
The OC and the DC is on staff.
Okay.
First of all, you know, continuity. And the fact that it'll be sooner than later, I'm projecting here. I don't know. Coach ain't told me nothing. Nobody else told me nothing. But I can kind of put things together, and I'm looking at you know, based on some comments that Coach Henry would be the OC, and then the D-line coach would be the DC, which was expected. Yeah, which is what expected, and hey, I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I mean, so and then what was really interesting for me was the fact that everybody who was on the team that went into Porter pretty much is back in the fold except one. That's great news. That's awesome news there.
Is 28 that one? Is that Cheney that's still in the portal or not? Has he hasn't come back? Is that your understanding?
I do not know that for sure.
Okay.
So, but if I was a guessing person, then yes, I would guess that would be the one.
Okay. And is it under this? Is it your belief that Lovey Jenkins is back? Because that was also one of those ones that was in the portal.
I don't know. I haven't heard, and I haven't talked to my sources inside who would team workout, so I don't know.
Okay. So maybe we'll try to see if we can sparse that out. If we don't get it for you, I know you and Vaughn are going to be live tomorrow. So, giving a short little plug here, HBC Game Day. Vaughn Wilson will be doing and I don't have what it's exactly called. So hold on, I gotta. But you will be on with him tomorrow, 7:00 Eastern. I unfortunately we will be in the midst of our regional quarterfinal game. So
basketball.
Basketball. FHSAA state playoffs begin tomorrow. So that's where I will be. So that's tomorrow, HBCU game day. They will be doing a live he'll be taking calls will be coming in. I don't know if it'll be via StreamYard calls or phone line calls, but I know you will be there with him, and so that's maybe something that you guys will maybe get a chance to hint on as you talk to your sources.
Absolutely.
I didn't ask any questions about Billy Roll. I know EA just popped in there with a question about Billy Roll. I don't know. Will Billy Roll fill the recruiter position? I don't know. Don't know. That's a interesting thought. And again, prior to Coach Riz, I know all the coaches kind of took care of the recruiting, their own areas, right? They didn't really have a centralized person in that role. So I know Coach Riz probably made things probably definitely helped a lot of areas for those coaches, but it has been done without quote unquote coordinator. So
standalone.
We have to wait a year, even if we have to wait a season. That's to be it. I didn't ask him about having I know he said he wanted to bring in a quarterback coach. I know that was also one of the positions. So if I had to project, I know obviously the football ops position, the DC elevation. Now, if there's a DC elevation that leaves a position, possibly, either DL or linebackers, right? That needs.
Well, he's going to maintain. Yeah, he's the coordinator's still going to maintain a position. I'm assuming just like the previous DC did. So,
I think it does. You think it opens up a position like the previous DC was the linebacker coach as well. Patterson is a D line coach, so most likely he'll stay D line, move to DC. That opens up the linebacking position.
Correct.
So that's where I'm kind of going with that. And then of course, Coach Henry was also the O-line coach, but I know Coach Colzie talked about wanting to bring in a quarterback coach, which we necessarily hadn't had since KJ Black was the quarterback coach, because Coach Simmons kind of took over that role when KJ went to the Rams. So that's a possibility, just to kind of throw that out there. Let me while we're talking football, let me give a shout out to this guy right here.
Absolutely.
Let me give a shout out to this guy. Over the Super Bowl weekend, obviously, we were a lot of folks were focused on whether it be the inductees of the Hall of Fame class or the actual teams. But then there was the NFL's HBCU Spotlight Player of the Year. It was our own Marquise Bell for his season that he had with the Dallas Cowboys this past year. Congratulations to Marquise. That was presented at the 25th anniversary of the Super Bowl Soulful celebration. In the 2023 season, Marquise started in 8 of the 17 games that he played in. Notice he played in all 17 games. 60 total tackles, 50 of them were solo. He combined for a total of 94 tackles this year. Had 4 pass defenses, 2 forced fumbles. Had a couple of great highlights in some games.
Led the team in tackles a couple of games too.
Yeah. I think there was a game against the Panthers. Actually, there was the game against the Lions where he actually had 10 combined tackles. 6 of them were solo. He also had a 10 tackle game against the Panthers. And both of those were wins by the Cowboys in those games. So, congrats to Marquise. And we're looking forward to seeing what Marquise does. Yeah, might be
Pay my man.
paid.
Yes, sir. Got to pay my man now.
Show him the money. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right. As I kind of make my way through a couple of pages here. All right, we got to talk about this team, these ladies, this coach, her, our Rattlers, ladies and gentlemen, with a big weekend with a 71-57 win over Texas Southern, and then a 71-63 win over Prairie View. Kelvin, you were at one or both of the games over the weekend?
I caught the very tail end of the Saturday game because I had to go to a funeral, so I didn't really see most of that. I just caught the last maybe minute or two of that game, but yeah, I was at both. And what I say is this team has taken two things that are I'm gonna make 3 points, 3 quick bullet points. Bullet point number 1: you judge a team by the growth you see from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. This team is growing. They're taking on the mentality of the coach. They have moved into 5th place in the SWAC overall, top 8 goal. And, that's with a couple of close losses that they really should have held on to, as well as playing the top 2 teams in the conference close into the 4th quarter.
Mm-hmm.
That's also with dealing with injuries and having got people out of the lineup. What I noticed about this particular team and this particular weekend, and if you look at the stat lines, we've gone from only having 7 players play to now we go 9 deep.
Yeah.
We still have 7 that pretty much get double-digit minutes, and you got 1 or 2 that essentially don't come off the court. But you're starting to develop a bench now and some depth. And this team has gotten better since when they started. So I love that. I love that trajectory. I love the mentality that they have. They don't tend to get phased. They can, everybody know we got a 1A and then a number 2, and then it's by committee after that in terms of scoring.
We got a Batman and Robin. And Robin, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, but they produce. They produce every game. People throwing all kind of different defenses at them. Right now, Ariana is just on a whole different level. because she ended up getting the other team in foul trouble. Now, when
Yeah.
she first started this run, she would get into foul trouble sometimes.
Yep.
I can see the basketball IQ of the team in its entirety, but particularly with her basketball IQ is getting better, and she don't take as many risks on the defensive end that gets her silly fouls because she realizes how important she is to the team. And then you see other players who are a little bit more comfortable. They understand their roles and they stay within those roles. And so man, I'm really enjoying watching this team. They play a pretty good quality of basketball, and every game, I have not seen a game in the last 7 or 8 games where they don't show up, right? Whether they win or lose, they show up every game.
Yep.
And as a fan, as a former administrator, as a person who coached high school ball a little bit, even though it was a different sport, I appreciate everything about this team and what I'm seeing from this team. It's a beautiful thing.
That what you said right there is so huge because if you've coached and you coached young people and you as a coach, you're trying to get the most out of them because you recognize their greatness. And watching Coach Gordon really dig deep and really be authentic in her true self to these young ladies and watch how they responded. Kenya, you're dead on. I watched Coach, and I would encourage anybody to go back on FAMU Athletics or Rattlers Plus. Go watch Coach Gordon's conversation with Melvin Beal. Man, you want to know the essence of who she is and the essence of who this team is was perfect. I haven't had a chance to watch the previous shows. So, but I just felt like you understand, you got to understand who she is and who this team is now. And it's like we're starting to see it. It's like she's been sculpting and molding this team over the last 2.5 months. And now, guess what? Now she can put that clay into the oven, and man, it comes out pretty beautiful right now. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing all the hard work, the tough non-conference schedule, the tough love. I mean, we were there for some of those games, right, Kelvin? And I mean, look, I've been right there on the bench, that Bethune game, and I've heard that tough love. I made me kind of clutch up a little bit. I'm like, yeah. But I mean, it's love. It's said with love and passion. And yes, like you said, Steve, she's on that Tennessee basketball Mount Rushmore. So when she tells you something, it's first off, it's done with love and respect and care, but she's saying it from a place where she knows where she's been and she knows how to get there. And these young ladies are buying in. And yeah, I would encourage anybody to go back and listen to the coaches show from Tuesday night with Melvin Beal and Coach Gordon. Great job, Melvin Beal, in the questions and just getting that conversation going with Coach Gordon. She was very open and honest, and I love that. I love that about her. And back to this team, like you said, I think we've got. Unlike that weekend up in Alabama, now you're seeing people. Sydney Hendricks coming back. Nashani Gilbert. Sylvester is back this weekend. Annabelle Latore, she doesn't play a lot, but man, when she comes in, I think Liv even talked about this last weekend. She comes in and just she does her role. She doesn't make silly bad mistakes. She stays within herself, and this team, like you said, 1A, 1B, or the 1 and 2, however you want to categorize it. Hey, this team's got it. And I still maintain, Kelvin, I haven't had a chance to ask Coach this. And Coach, we know you watch the show. We love you, Coach. We waiting. We trying to get you in. When you want to come in, Coach, the floor is yours. I have got to ask Coach, since the UAPB game, and I'm going to show you some stats here in a second. Since the UAPB game, Ariana Grizzle has been different. I'm telling you, she saw something, and something was said, and the whole scope of everybody's favorite SWAC player Hey, look, there's a new
Hey,
sheriff.
it's something to be said, Brian. I've seen it on a job, when you leading a team of people, or whether it be in sports and you leading a team. It's something about having success and winning that the light bulb comes on. And the fact that she's scoring, but she's like the last game, she scored 29, 28 points, but she was only 3 from 12. But she made 20 free throws though. My point being, she has a swag, a confidence to match her skill sets, and she's playing within what her capabilities are. But man, when you win a few games and you have success, the great ones, that I'm telling you, it makes a difference, and that's what I'm seeing.
For the third week in a row, not one, not two, third week in a row, Ariana Grizzle, SWAC Player of the Week. And that's how she did it. Versus Texas Southern, 31 points, another game high score. She did it in 37 minutes. Take a look at, I highlighted in red, 13 field goals out of 27 attempts. The 13 made field goals was the second highest number of made field goals in the SWAC this season. Second highest, right? Then the next night, and you just talked about it.
Just the opposite.
Tough night from the field. But when you go, Kelvin, we've seen games where we haven't gone to the free throw line as a team 24 times. So she obviously, Prairie View coming in with a whole different strategy, trying to see whether they can rough her up or whether they can be physical with her. Yeah, that's what you don't want to do. Don't send her to the free throw line, because she was 20 of 24 at the free throw line, which, by the way, and I'm checking this with the sports information communications people at the SWAC, I think 20 made free throws and 24 attempts is also a season high in the SWAC. I think. I'm pretty sure it is based on the stats that I saw, but I think that's a high, 20 and 24. Again, game high score. That is now 7 consecutive games. And if you just look at the last 5 games, 27, 31, 26, 31, 20. That's the last 5 games, folks. FAMU's won how many of those last 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, I think.
Yeah, I think they won 5 out of the last 7.
Yeah, 5. We've definitely won 5 out of the last 7, but I think the 4 out of those 5, the one loss was the Alabama A&M meltdown in the fourth quarter. That's the one game. Why Ariana Grizzle? So you notice this graphic. Last week I had a question mark, right? Nah, there's no question now. She is a Player of the Year candidate, and she should be right there with everybody's favorite player from UAPB, Zay Green. But I'm gonna tell you now, this is why Ariana Grizzle has moved into, I believe, the front runner's position in this race. Over the last 7 games, she's averaging 26 a game. You see the numbers, but just look at the 3-point shooting and the free throw numbers over the last 7 games. FAMU has won 5 of those 7 games. We are now 6-5 overall. And you pointed out, Kelvin, we've lost 5 games this season. That includes what? A triple overtime loss to Grambling. Yeah. And a somehow
A&M.
the Alabama A&M game.
Yep.
You think without those 2 games, you know where we're sitting? 8-3 in second place.
Yeah.
There you see the standings. Right there, you can see right there, FAMU sits right there in 5th spot, 1 game behind Southern. We are game ahead of Bethune, Alabama A&M, and Prairie View. And, of course, this weekend, Saturday, we go to Jackson State. Winners of 18 in a row in their building. Currently unbeaten, 11-0. We saw Southern last week. Southern had them on the ropes but couldn't knock them down. The question is, can the Lady Rattlers go to Jackson and do what many people won't be giving them a snowbird's chance to do? I'll tell you what, I'm gonna find a little pizza money, Kelvin, because I know them numbers are gonna be real high. I'm gonna find a little pizza money to put on FAMU going into this game. I'm just saying.
Yeah, JSU gonna be the favorite. They got size, they got the depth, but this team got a grit about them, and I know they're gonna probably come up with a scheme to try to minimize or get into foul trouble. I think that's gonna be the key. Can our two scorers stay out of foul trouble? It's gonna be the key for us to stay in that game up there. But I'm not betting against them.
No. I think we are well within our and the fact that we have played them once and there won't be any fear. That's the one thing. There won't be any fear. And if I bet you anything, knowing Coach Gordon, they will break that film down and say, ladies, we let them hey, to quote the great
Denny Green.
We let them off the hook.
You want to crown them?
Crown them. But we let them off the hook. That's exactly what's going to be said. That's what I would say. We let them off the hook. And so, we're going into Mississippi with the right mindset, I believe. So Saturday we play Jackson, and then we travel to Alcorn on Monday. I'm going to have to talk to my good friend Charles Edmond to get a feel for that Alcorn game, but eyes are clearly focused on Jackson State first.
And it's important that they finish strong, right? They're in a good position, but the SWAC is very competitive, and they've got three of the top 5 teams down the stretch.
Yeah. You all on social media, you can run this back, clip this. This is why Ariana Grizzle is an MVP, Player of the Year candidate. She's got 5 of the top 10 game highs in the SWAC this year. As you can see, she's got the 2 top performances at 31. She's done it twice. She's tied with her teammate Olivia Delancey for 4th at 29. Then she had a 27 and a 26-point performance over the last couple of weeks, which, again, that's 5 of the top 10, or if you want to really say it, top 5 of the top 8 performances in the SWAC this season. More stats, cooking the SWAC, as we like to say, as I like to say it. She leads the league in points per game. That's overall 19.7. If you just look at conference games alone, she's averaging 21.9 points a game. She's shooting 45% from the three-point arc, Kelvin. Look at Delancey, who's number 2. Delancey at number 2, you're thinking, hey, that's pretty doggone good, Olivia. Oh, excuse me. Your teammate's shooting 45. That's ridiculous. Field goal percentage, she's behind Zay Green. Zay Green is shooting a little bit better. I think Zay is like 45%, but here she is at 43. She's number 2 in steals per game at 2.5. 3-point field goals made, 1.6 a game, is 5th best in the conference. Her free throw percentage, actually, which is kind of interesting, the SWAC has a great deal of free throw shooters that shoot really well. That's the one thing that's pretty interesting. You see her 77% is only 8th. And then, of course, her assists per game is 3. That's 8th, as well as her assist-to-turnover ratio, which is 0.8. That, too, is also 8th in the league.
Hey, Brian,
yes,
you
sir.
did a great job with these stats. These are some good stats here, man.
Man,
I like to review from time to time, but this is a good breakdown.
Look, I am a Ariana Grizzle stan right now. I can't get enough of Ariana Grizzle, and I haven't even gotten into the whole. Next week, I'm gonna wear if we beat Jackson State, I'm coming in with a Canadian flag draped on my shoulder. I might have a Canadian T-shirt on because I'm telling you, the Canadian import Ariana Grizzle is cooking the SWAC. From Canada to the Southwestern Athletic Conference, it's a beautiful thing to watch. I'm just a fan right now. I mean, look, this team, I like that. Let me see. Darian, I like that. Grizzle sizzles in the SWAC. I'm going to have to steal that one next week. I like that. I love it. I love it. But yeah, man, it's fun. And more importantly, this is a team, man. There's so many things to like about this team. And when you so again, I want to encourage you guys to yeah, you'll probably have to pay the Jackson State Pipers.
Hey, let me just add while we doing these accolades, because I know we're going to get out of this particular part in a minute, but remember what this team was predicted.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody saw this coming. I mean, I think they were predicted what, second to last or third to last?
They're probably third.
Yeah, they were in the bottom quarter of the conference predictions, and we're at 5 and got the possibility of moving up to definitely as high as 3, maybe 2.
Yeah. So, man, you'll probably have to pay the Jackson State Piper in order to watch this, because they do put this on their JSU Sports Network. I don't know if they'll spike up the pricing like they did for the Southern game last time. They spiked it up to $20. Normally it's like $9 or $10, but I think for that Southern game, they spiked it up to $20.
Come on, SWAC, man, y'all got to do better, man. I'm gonna hopper on that, and then I'm definitely going to SWAC Media Days this year. We got to get this streaming thing figured out for the conference.
Well, look, you had an ESPN game, which we hosted our game against Prairie View. Of course, we lost that game. We're not going to talk too much about it. Bad loss, another bad loss. But that was a 9:00 game on ESPN2. I'm not gonna lie. I fell asleep and woke up at like 10:45 and saw the game was still on. I'm like, oh, the FAMU game is still on, and I kind of dozed off again. But anyway, having these that women's game finished at 7:30, so you probably had an hour and a half. What was that crowd like between an hour and a half going from the women to the men?
The band wasn't at the women's game on Monday. And a lot of people didn't know that the game had moved to 9:00. The men's game had moved to 9:00.
Oh,
so
wow.
So there were people who were sitting where I sit at. They was like, this game, the men's games. I said, yeah, it's a TV game. It's gonna be at 9. So you had from essentially, I think officially, I think they get the ladies got off the court about 7:38, and so you had roughly an hour and a half to kill. And a lot of the arena cleared out, but the band trickled in because it looked like doggone near the whole band ended up performing for the men's game. But yeah, the band came back in, and the crowd filled in a little bit. But I for me, the feel of the arena this year thus far has been lacking, and I know a lot of it in terms of the men's games out of frustration. I can tell you several people left. They didn't want to see the men's game, and then those who stayed, they stayed to halftime, and then they left. And don't say that I told you, but since I knew the game was on TV, I left at halftime too and watched the rest on TV. It is what it is, man.
That is what it is. Yeah, I mean that late night start, and I mean, again, that's tough.
On a Monday night too.
On a Monday night, right? That's tough. They don't. What's funny is a lot of these Saturday games are being played very early. The late Monday night games is one of those complaints that I've heard college coaches complain about. Now at the upper levels, the Power 5 levels. Now again, they get paid millions of dollars for those games. I don't know What?
They don't play every other day either. You know, they play like a Thursday or a Saturday, and then they play a Monday or a Tuesday. So
Right.
they get 3 or 4 days in between, and they fly commercial and then sometimes not commercial,
Right.
but they fly and come back.
So imagine Prairie View A&M having to finish that game, probably go back to their hotel. Do you think Dr. Cavill's in the room? What do you think they bust it? Did they bust it back home or did they fly home?
Typically, man, they jump on the bus and head on back overnight.
So that means you're on the bus going 10 hours probably back to Prairie View. I don't know. You're probably not making any classes on Tuesday, at least Tuesday morning. Maybe if you got Tuesday afternoon class, somebody's expecting you to go to class. That's what you're talking about. That's the challenge, which says financially, is it worth it? Is it worth it? I don't know. It's one of those. I mean, and again, these are all these things that a lot of things are happening in the sports world.
That's right. Doc said they flew.
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you, Doc. Yeah, no, I'm okay. At least they flew. Okay, good.
Texas got that loan money.
Yeah. I wonder what FAMU would have done had the roles been reversed.
Bus.
There you go. That's why I said that. Because I know it has happened before where we've taken those back in the old MEAC days. We had to drive up to the Northeast. But anyway, I've heard those stories. But yeah, no, there's so much is happening in college athletics surrounding, money. And again, not enough consideration is being given to how it affects the student athletes. And again, you don't want to pay these student athletes, but you want them to travel around like businessmen and women who are on red eyes and got to be at an office, the next morning after finishing work on a Monday night. Then you want them to be there at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday. So we got to do better. I mean, but I don't know. The money talks, and unfortunately, so this weekend, Jackson State and Alcorn, doubleheaders, men and women's, will be. The men are on a 4-game losing streak. Hopefully,
hey, I'm finna jump in. We ain't gonna spend a whole lot of time on the men, but let me just say this: when the season started and over expectations may not have been high, but there was some optimism, and it was, you could still have some fun. It was enjoyable. Right now, it's not enjoyable. It's no fun. I find myself more frustrated and angry as I watch, because I'm not understanding some things. I hear you got injuries, but we ain't losing because we got injuries. We're losing because we got a team that's very selfish, that make turnovers, particularly one player specifically who's got the ultimate green light. We don't run set plays, right? We got a big man that can play against the best of them, but we don't consistently give him the ball. And even when we do give him the ball, he made 2 baskets in a row and he coming out the game. I mean, what we doing, man, I have no idea. And so it frustrates me because our talent level is better than what our record is, but we're not closing out games. We keep teams in games and we put ourselves out of games because we such a bad basketball IQ team. We really do.
Well said. Well said. Okay. Let's jump over to a sport that is hold on. I'm gonna let you lead this one for a second, Kelvin, because I said, well, hold on. What time is this? Okay, 10 o'clock. Okay. How about these guys? You remember these guys?
Woo-hoo!
You remember these guys?
Those champions.
Champions. The first champions of were they the first of 2023? On the men's side, the first men's champions of 2023. The first team the first men's team that gets a chance to run it back will be our baseball team, as they're opening up their season this weekend. Go ahead and speak on these guys for a minute, Kelvin. I gotta while you doing that, I got some graphics in there, but just talk a little bit about what we got going on this weekend for our baseball team.
Yeah, we got a weekend competition with Eastern Illinois. You heard Coach Shute talk about, I believe they were a tournament team last year. This is the time of year a lot of teams come to the South from the North and Midwest to get some games in where the weather is better, and it gives us an opportunity. We've got 4 guys who are all MEAC, all SWAC conference. And to be honest, man, I looked at the we picked 3rd in the East, and I could do nothing but laugh, right? I could understand it last year. But if you really look at what we got coming back, honestly, the only 2 potential, well, 3 if I add Weber. We lost Weber, we lost our number 1 pitcher, and we lost our closer. But our closer wasn't really our closer until the end of the season anyway. So we have a lot of power, a lot of offense coming back, a lot of kids that won a lot of games, and we brought in to that talent some great talent. So how we are not picked first in the East, I don't know. I know Coach Shute could care less at this point, and the team. But I'm interested to see us out of conference. This is one of those seasons we always talk about Coach philosophy, and he experiments, and so he ain't concerned about wins and losses necessarily. But I think Coach finds himself in a situation similar to what Coach Simmons found himself in football season. A very experienced team with a lot of talent and high expectations. So this is one of those seasons like we played South Florida really well out of conference. This is one of those years I expect us to win some out of conference games early, as long as we stay healthy. Because this team is you're not gonna beat this team 2-0. That's for sure.
No. It is the expectation, and there you see right there, you see the preseason SWAC standings. I just, again, I know there's a lot of love people have. I mean, great coaches. I love the coaches at Alabama State and Bethune-Cookman. Love those 2 coaches. But I'm just like, wait a minute. With all that we got returning,
yeah,
we're 3rd. I'm 3rd.
Yeah.
We beat those 2 teams.
Yeah.
But we're 3rd. We were the most productive offensive team in the SWAC, but we're 3rd? Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Where does that happen at? Where else does that happen at? But okay, that's fine.
And we play the toughest schedule in the SWAC. Because our out of conference schedule is just out of this world, and we don't dodge anybody. So
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, as you can see, a lot of first place votes for pretty much everybody except Valley. That's standard. And then on the west side, what's also interesting on the west side is the last place team, Alcorn, got the 2nd most first place votes. So it's either like you either thought Alcorn was going to be, put it like this, everybody over there thinks Alcorn is either going to be good enough to win the SWAC West, or they just said no. They're like, nah, I don't see it happening this year. So there's no middle ground with Alcorn. You either think they have it or they don't. That's the only thing I can tell over on the west side.
Who do the voting?
It is
the SIDs.
It's the SIDs and the coaches, I believe. That's the cabal of voters in the SWAC, and it's always been that way. I don't know why they don't have a media a media or even just mix in some media folks. Hey, what can I say? Even Black College Nines, who covers baseball, they got us spinning. They ain't even we were the HBCU national champs last year, right?
Yeah.
In their own rankings. But this preseason, third. Okay. That's fine.
It's good. We got no problems. We'll see them in the tournament.
Exactly. We'll see you in the tournament. So again, first pitch on Friday at Moore Kittles Field, 4:00 Friday afternoon. So try to get out there. Then Saturday, the doubleheader, 1:00 and 4, and then Sunday, 1:00 afternoon. Somehow, some way, I'm gonna be a little messy here. Somehow, when HBCU Nines listed a ranking of HBCU baseball stadiums, somehow Moore Kittles made it into the top 13. Now, I don't know how at number 11, which honestly, if I'm Grambling or Prairie View, who was 12 and 13, I'd be pissed because I'm just looking at the pictures of Grambling and Prairie View's baseball park. It's so much better than Moore Kittles. I have no idea how we ended up as number 11.
I'm assuming they're talking about the field. Now, our field is better than some of those schools, but that's about it.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah, some of them ain't got field crews, man, and it shows.
Well, our players are the field crew from what I'm.
They are. That's the point. But they do a good job, though.
All right. So be it then.
That's the only thing. That's all I got for you. That's the only thing I can figure. I have no reason. Yeah, I have no idea why.
All right. Geez Louise. I'm gonna save track for just a second. Let me jump over to tennis. As our Lady Rattlers, they fell. They had a couple of losses over the weekend. They hosted UAB and then hosted Georgia State. Lost to both of them. Lost to UAB 6-1. Lost to Georgia State 5-1. But we did end up having a player of the week in Sarah Rakim. Sarah is now the third consecutive Rattler tennis player, and the third different one, by the way. Genesis Whitlock 2 weeks ago, Reagan Harris last week. So Sarah now is the third, and she had a good weekend of singles matches. She was the lone victor in the UAB match. Dropped the first set 6-3, then she won the second 6-3, and then the tiebreak set 1-10-8. And she also was the only winner in the Georgia State match 6-3, 6-4. So Sarah came to play a little bit tough there on the rest of the ladies. Have you had a chance to? Have you guys in the chat? You guys in the chat or something else. You guys? It's like folks come in and then what are we talking about in the chat room? Are we focused? Are we talking about the Rattlers or are we talking about other foolishness? What are y'all doing? But anyway, did anybody get a chance to watch the YouTube streams over the weekend, whether it be Friday or Saturday of tennis? Any thoughts? Kelvin, did you get a chance to watch?
No, I have not gone back and watched it yet.
Okay. Well, I will say that from a I think they fixed whatever broadcast signal issues they had from the previous weekend because the feed wasn't glitching. So they were able to keep a solid connection. I don't know, we must have improved our hotspot or something out there on the court. The audio is there, so you can actually hear the players. I will say though, two thoughts here. if you're watching a tennis match and you notice, like if you look in this photo, you see kind of a dark screen behind the players. Obviously, this wasn't done at our park, at our courts, because we don't have that dark mesh along the fence. So it's like whenever you're
Yeah, we do.
I see the parking lot. I see the parking lot of cars.
Yeah, we have thin mesh though. I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know what this particular picture was taken, but we do have meshing on our fences though.
Okay.
But I think it's green, if I'm not mistaken.
It's just kind of on the video. It just looks it's very transparent then, because I can see the parking lot. If you were in your car fumbling around with the keys or whatever in the parking lot, we could see it on the YouTube feed. I'm just kind of curious what it would take to get kind of some kind of tarp or some kind of screen.
They may have it just on the safe facing the road because it says FAMU Athletics.
I think it is, but not on the other side, which I would think the side that where the players are actually hitting is the parking lot, so you can kind of see.
Well, Brian, I'm gonna just say this, and I think I said it last time. You know, we have a physical ed department, so the tennis courts and the track are part of education. We should be able to make that happen.
Gotcha. This weekend, there's a pair of SWAC clusters happening in Montgomery, Alabama. And then there's another one happening, I believe, in Prairie View or maybe somewhere else. But anyway, the one that involves us is happening in Montgomery, Alabama. So the Lady Rattlers will be taking on Mississippi Valley State on Friday, Alcorn on Saturday, Grambling on Sunday. There are those start times. So if you're in the Montgomery, Alabama area,
the Gump,
be a great time for you to get out and support the Lady Rattlers this weekend. Be a good opportunity. Remember, we have not lost. We did not lose a single SWAC match last year.
It's Black History Month too. Throw your hats up.
Bro, I was like, I almost wanted to be like, what? Where's the correlation? What does that mean? Okay.
The Gump. That's what the scene of the crime. My favorite one of my favorite black moments of last year.
That didn't happen in Montgomery though. I think that happen down a little further south.
No, that was the Gump.
Yeah. Man.
That was the Gump.
Jeez.
Got some right. We got some straightening around here. What you not gonna do
is pull your boat up and try to act like
be all drunk and then swing on my brother. I am my brother's keeper.
Hey, if nothing else. Okay. Moving over to the softball diamond over this past weekend, the opening weekend of the softball season, wasn't as great as we would have liked it. The Lady Rattlers did open the season. Yeah, tough competition. We opened the season at home with a pair of games against Texas Tech. Great crowds from what I saw. So props to everybody who came out to the first game, the first doubleheader on Friday. Unfortunately, we were in that contest in game one against Texas Tech up until we weren't.
The last inning.
Yeah, the last inning. We were in that contest until we weren't. I think they gave up an 8-run sixth inning.
Yeah.
And so I mean, we had a 3-1 ball game, and I think we made a pitching change, and it just kind of fell apart there. But we lost 11-1 game one, 9-2 in game two. Then the next day we went over to Florida State. Many of you got a chance to hopefully watch that online.
Nationally ranked Florida State.
Nationally ranked Florida State, who actually they were put. I think they lost to
They
Charlotte.
lost their first game and
lost their first game.
Came back. Charlotte came back too, and won that game.
Yeah, so we knew we were going. We had to play Charlotte, so we knew that was going to be a tough contest. But Florida State blanked us 9-0 in the first meeting. Then we had to play Charlotte in game 2. They blanked us 8-0. So that was a tough scoreless day on Saturday. But on Sunday, we bounced back and got it. We lost 8-2, got a pair of runs in game 2. So
early, brand new team. The one thing that I like to see, we playing top notch competition. Now Texas Tech, is Big 12 powerhouse and so forth. But would like to see, want to see the offense get going and see if we can minimize, the errors and mistakes, and you like to see some 42 games, 43 games. So improvement, but it's early.
I will say, now I know there was an attempt to do some radio play-by-play of the games on Friday. I don't think it actually came through. I know there was an attempt to, so I like the attempt. Hopefully we can get figured out whatever bugs there were in the audio so that we can get some play-by-play of that softball the next time the softball team is at home. Jeremiah Clark says he was watching the games versus FSU online. So yeah, hopefully, that's par for the course. We did come out of that contest though with a pair of SWAC performers, players of the week. Naomi Jones and Lauren Peppers earned SWAC weekly honors. Jones won the hitter of the week and Peppers won the co-pitcher of the week. Reading right here from FAMU Athletics. Jones recorded 5 hits, had 2 runs batted in against some challenging opponents, definitely. Again, number 4 ranked Florida State, Texas Tech team, and of course the Charlotte team that actually beat Florida State in their opening game. Jones drove in the team's first run of the season versus Texas Tech. She added a double and had a .375 slugging percentage along with a .313 batting average. She recorded 3 hits, 1 RBI, and 1 run against Texas Tech, while also getting 2 hits and an RBI against Florida State. As for Lauren Peppers, the opening day starter, she battled well against Florida State and Texas Tech. Finished, her opponents only had a .267 batting average in her second game against Texas Tech. Peppers came in relief duty, went 2 1/3 innings, striking out 2 and allowing no hits. So nice job by Lauren, and congratulations to Naomi. And so now the Lady Rattlers are in Alabama. I mentioned a lot of folks are in Alabama this weekend. The Lady Rattlers are in Troy, Alabama this weekend as they're traveling to Troy, where they're going to take on Troy University, as well as Indiana University, and then Gardner-Webb. So it'll be a good variety of, you got a Big Ten school. Troy is in the, SBC?
Sun Belt?
Yeah. And I'm not sure. I think Gardner-Webb is in the Big South, or
they were. They were, but I think they merged or moved or something. But yeah.
All right. So those games start Thursday, tomorrow. So that game against Troy. Be looking out. There might be, Troy might be doing some streaming since they're the host. they might be doing some streaming, so there might be an opportunity.
ESPN. The chore games will be on ESPN Plus.
Hey, well, there you go. All right, so we'll get a chance to. I'll be tuned in. I got ESPN Plus, so we'll get a chance to tune in. What time is that again? Looking at right there on the roster, 6 Eastern. All right. So if you miss it live, you can probably watch it on replay if you have ESPN Plus. So that's what I'll look to do. All right, who haven't we got to? Oh, yeah, we got to talk about track and field, don't we?
Absolutely.
I think
championship time.
Yeah, championship time for track and field. First off, let me get to our performers of the week. As a trio, 1, 2, 3, Rattlers earned SWAC weekly honors. There you can see 2 of them. Nia Blocker, freshman from, I believe, Rickards, right out of Rickards High School. And then Brianna Brown Marshall, along with Joseph DeRozier. I think that's the second time DeRozier has earned, second week in a row possibly, that he's earned SWAC Athletes of the Week.
Yes, sir. Them Roses. Them Roses, boys. Somebody, them Roses.
Yeah.
Roses and the Roses.
These are for indoor awards. So Naya won the 200-meter final at the Badger City, Windy City Invite. Of course, the Rattlers were up in Chicago this past weekend. She also set a new personal record in that race, and her time now ranks 69th in Division I indoor qualifying, and is the fastest 200-meter time this season in the SWAC. So she goes into the indoor championships probably as the number 1 seed and probably the favorite. She is the young lady to beat. And again, Naya, just a freshman. That's amazing. Brianna Brown Marshall, she defeated 18 other competitors in the women's long jump. She had a 5.88 meter leap, which, in case you want to know what that is in terms of feet and inches, that's 19 feet, 3.5 inches. It put her first, that's her first long jump win of the season, her second top 3 performance of the year. And it placed her 5th overall. Let me read this. With a mark of 1.74 meters, she also placed 5th overall in a 20-person field in the high jump. Okay, so she does the high jump and long jump. So she finished 5th in the long jump, and there you go. As for Kelvin's distant cousin, Joseph, he set a personal record in the 60-meter hurdles with a 7.79. He finished 3rd overall. His time ranks 4th on the NCAA Division I indoor qualifying list and is the fastest time in the SWAC this year. DeRozier also set a PR in the 200-meter race of 22.1. Yes, I agree, Marcus. Yes, Coach G and staff, they have done a great job of recruiting and building these young men and women up. And man, we got a great squad going in. There's a great article. I know I retweeted it. I posted on our Facebook page, but you can go to FAMU Athletics and read. It's a great preview of the indoor championships, which begin in 3 days. That's right. In the Birmingham, Alabama area, the Birmingham Crossplex. So again, I wasn't lying. When I said the Rattlers are in Alabama this weekend, we're in Montgomery, we're in Troy, we're in Birmingham. We're all over the state. So there's no excuse. If you're in the Atlanta area, get over to Birmingham. If you're in the Alabama area, get to one of those sites and watch. But here's the key point, Kelvin, of our track season, right? FAMU, and I'm reading right here, if performance translated to medals, and I'm just talking our performance thus far in the indoor season, if performance translated to medals, FAMU track would possess 7 golds, 7 silvers, and 3 bronzes. The team currently has 23 top 5 times in marks this year, men and women. Brianna Brown Marshall, who we just mentioned, and Joseph DeRozier sit among the nation's best on the NCAA Division I indoor qualifying list. Brown Marshall ranks 31st in the high jump, DeRozier 41st in the 60-meter hurdles. We got some people who have had great times this year. Tiana Brown, along with Nia Blocker in the 60 meters, Dejon Clark in the 60 meters, Blocker and Brown also in the 200 meters. For women, Rory Lowe also running well in the 200. The 400, Tatiana Martinez has the fastest time for the women. Kendrick Winfield, the fastest time for the men. Lacey Dabrowski, who I think set a school record in the 800 meters, or maybe it was another event. I don't really know. After last week's controversy, she had a 2:11.17. Kirk Dawkins in the mile, he has the second fastest time. Nia Coleman in the 3,000 meters is the 4th fastest. I mean, Kelvin, that's a very we are in the hunt.
We got some ladies and some fellas. We definitely on both sides. We'll be in the hunt. It's gonna be competitive now. SWAC does pretty good. Got some good track and field athletes balanced throughout the conference, but we seem to have quite a few on the same team. So, I'm looking forward to see if we can pull off. We pull off a SWAC cross country championship that we didn't see coming. We can kind of see this one coming. So we'll see where we are on Sunday.
Hey, it'll be real interesting to see. Because I've seen. I feel like, and I didn't pull up the history, but I feel like between Alabama State and Prairie View, whether it be men and women or one or the other, I feel like those are the schools that have won the titles over the last couple seasons that I've been kind of loosely paying attention to. Yeah. And looking at what we're doing, we're going to be in the hunt for whether it be the men or the women. One of those two, I feel like we can grab. We can grab a title, a team title. Marcus said, don't forget the jumpers. Yeah. You're right. I didn't go through the jumpers, the 60-meter hurdles. We have the fastest men and women's time. The high jump, we have the women's best jump. The men and women, we've got the second best jump in the long jump. The triple jump, we've got the 4th best time. And then I think what I'm really interested in, the 4x400 squad, the ladies 4x4, we've got the second fastest time, but I don't think we did have the fastest time, I thought maybe a couple of weeks ago or a couple of meets ago earlier in the season. So that's going to be one of those races that's going to be really locked in. And I think all of this you'll be able to watch on YouTube on the SWAC Digital Network. So no excuse to not tune in and watch. I know HBCU track and field. We've been they've been doing some good content on Twitter. So if you get a chance to follow that site, you can keep up. And I'm sure they'll be reporting as I've been paying attention to their coverage for some of the other conferences as well. So, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Championships.
That's it. Our boy Kofi, he will be awfully proud right now, beating his chest.
All of this coming to fruition, man. So good stuff. What did we forget? Anything we left out on? Did we hit all the points? Did we cover everything?
Yeah, I think we covered all the Rattler teams that are got things going on. I think golf is off this weekend, if I remember correctly, and I think bowling's off this weekend. So
Okay. Good stuff. So we'll stay up to date on that. I know we got another week. I was thinking about that article that Gerald had posted about some important dates upcoming. We can talk about that next week because I think one of the dates he mentioned about the 220 Club, that's not for a couple more weeks. So we don't have to talk about it this week. We can get into it next week. Yeah, we're looking forward to this weekend. Whether you're in Tallahassee, going over to the baseball field, more Kittles, and checking out our baseball team as they open their season, or if you're in the Alabama area and get a chance to go and watch tennis, track, or softball, there's a great opportunity this weekend to support the Rattlers in some form or fashion. And we want to encourage, as much as we talk about, hey, it'd be great if you donate to this show, but more importantly, your support of Rattler Athletics is really paramount. And I just want to again,
you're Coach Colzie. The kids love FAMU, and it's because of the love that FAMU gives to our kids and to our programs. So we got to step it up and continue to do so. Make sure they have the best possible experience that they can have. The same great experiences that we had, which makes us love and support FAMU the way we do.
Well said. Want them to have a better experience than what we had. How about that? Raise the bar. Raise the bar. We know we had a great time. let's help them. Let's help them. All that we ask of these student athletes and the expectations that we have, then we need to support. So find a way to support every no matter the amount. Every amount helps. As Kelvin said, champions. And don't forget, this is a big fundraiser. It's not being said, but I promise you, this is a fundraiser. So you can be a part of helping athletics raise funds by purchasing your national championship fan ring. Right here, February 29th, 2024. Go to FAMUathletics.com/fan ring. Order yours. Too bad they don't have a payment plan, or do they? I need to look in that. They got a payment plan. They'll take like 4 payments over. Let me stop. But anyway, that'd be it. If they did though, woo, we could all have rings. I got to get a ring. I can't do a pendant. Anyway. All right. That's gonna do it for this, Kelvin. I think we covered and hit everything.
I'm with you.
Any final words that you want to touch on as we close the show down?
Wish a happy Valentine's to all of Rattler Nations, the coaches, the student athletes, everybody. Hopefully, everybody got what their heart desires, and let's I'm gonna be at the baseball game. So if you want to see me this weekend, God willing, if nothing else happens, I'll be at the baseball games all weekend. So looking forward to that.
All right. And I don't know. I could get inspired. That's gonna be after. I could get inspired to want to do a what you call it, a watch party for the Jackson State game. I might. I may have to. I may know somebody. Might be able to make it happen. But worst come, we'll see. But I'm already searching on eBay for my Canadian shirt because I got a feeling Grizzle's gonna cook this weekend. We're gonna cook some tiger meat on the grill. No luck needed, just hard work, baby. Hard work. Hey, thank you, everybody. Support Rattler Nation. Support the Rattlers wherever you can. Hit the thumbs up button or the like button on your way out the door. Make sure you're following the ONG Strike Zone on all our platforms at ONG Strike Zone on Twitter, Facebook. I keep calling it Twitter. X, Facebook, Instagram. Shout out to all the Instagram watchers, viewers. Appreciate you. Make sure to watch for the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere you listen and download podcasts. You can watch our show along with other shows on the Black College Sports Network, which we are a part of. So we want to thank Coach James Colzie for joining us earlier. If you missed the interview or any part of the great conversation, go back and watch it or be ready to download it when it hits the BCSN Pod Zone. For Kelvin, I'm Bryan. Next week, we hope to have Marcus back for next week, and we'll have the full team, the full squad will be here, ready to recap the amazing weekend, upsets, wins, championships. We're here for it all, baby. Things up. Make sure to strike hard, strike fast, strike quickly, and strike again, Rattlers. Be well, everybody. Be safe. Have fun. God bless. Thanks for watching. And good night now.